Welcome to Akhand Vidyashram, the first institute of impeccable wisdom. Let's talk about KAALRATRI, the seventh Chaitra Navratri day. This is seventh stage of evolution. Let me start once again. Asdoma Satgamya. That means let's start with the truth. This is the foundation of spiritual science as such. And one of the greatest statements I know is Aham Brahmasmi. We human beings are the microcosmic representation of the macrocosmic universe. This is the highest reality mentioned in Vedas, Upanishads, and many other scriptures of the world. We are made in the image of God is well known by many of the prophets of the world. Does this present image down of the spiral galaxy show 10.34419 spirals only, which is an integral part of Divyank? With that, let's move on to the next stage. And I do know for spirituality to be understood, comprehended for the benefit of the entire universe, every person who takes up to spirituality should be highly qualified, not literate, educated, enlightened, empowered person who knows all the 64 arts perfectly. Only a person who knows the essence of 64 arts which unite the entire universe, whose mind is at rest like a samadhi, intelligence is really high, knows the difference between right and wrong, is also intuitive to understand the universal consciousness, truthfully, honestly, non-violently otherwise, who has benefited the entire universe in his mind, is the one spiritual person who can be a scientist, or a scientist who can be spiritual. These are the two sides which are integral part. Spirituality by itself could be half and science by itself could be half. When they put together, you see the impeccable wisdom as such. This is what I am talking about. From that angle, human brain is the most evolved. But I am very sorry to say the function of the three outer layers, the neocortex, is not at all known to any of the scientists, neuroscientists, or anyone other than Shibhushan Sharma as such. And that is the process which I want everybody to understand if you want to be a truly genuine spiritual person who is fundamentally a mathematician, physics, chemistry, and sciences by and large. It cannot be done by someone who does not comprehend impeccable wisdom truthfully and honestly. Otherwise, you will be only misleading with philosophy which is defective. Now, I make one thing very clear, all the information available on the earth, whether Google or other formats, including all the formats, whether books, publication, journals or internet, is highly defective because full of defects in mathematics, physics, chemistry and all the sciences. If you want to get impeccable wisdom of the entire universe, including human beings, you got to look up to Akash Kosh, which is a record of universal consciousness from the beginning, past, present and future as such. And I am glad to say Schumann resonance field of 7.3 Hz is the most appropriate for the people living on the earth, including human beings. Now, to prove that I be the first person in the entire world in a recorded thing has produced 8 Hz alpha frequency in all the 64 parts of the brain with eyes open, ears open, senses open, with the mind control without anything other than being in the universal consciousness. No one in the world has produced it. It is exactly the opposite of what neuroscientists talk about it. 10.5 Hz alpha frequency when mind is at rest, eyes are closed, from the posterior brain alone, rest of the brain does not show. But I have done exactly the opposite, and that may be the reason why I have been able to go to Divya by and large. Second thing, now as I say, the concept of impeccable wisdom of Akhand Vidyashram are based on my own personal experiences and integrate divine mathematical convictions. It is not a copy of anybody's work, and it is only in tune with the universal consciousness, my experiences in the light of divine mathematics, physics, chemistry, and medical sciences, I am trying to explain as such. That is something. Now, the journey of my work starts from Shunya, Atma, zero, as well as dot. Everything started from dot, Shunya, and come to what it is today as Divyank, which recognized, revealed, and conceived for the first time in 2015 only. No one till that day had ever dreamt of something called Divyank, which is the impeccable wisdom with which all the questions of mathematics, physics, chemistry, other can be resolved once for all. So that way I am privileged to understand. In that connection, I've been talking the last 7 days about goddess Durga and Mahishasura's story, which is a part of an ancient story. Now, Mahishasura is a buffalo demon, which I have mentioned, and he could not be killed by any male member, has to be killed only by a female. Maybe he thought males have dominant terrorist qualities worth fighting, females are too gentle and otherwise. I think he was mistaken. So as a result, he started terrorizing everybody, including all the goddesses and all the human beings of every object in all the three spheres, whether on earth or antariksh or heaven. That's it. But that is the stage when everybody was really terrorized by him and his coterie of demons. Everybody went to the Trinity, Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh, and decided to go for a new goddess Durga with all the energies, atmas of all the gods and goddesses. The best possible thing was she was made. But let me tell you, I was under impression she has with 8 arms. But by making these particular videos, I realized actually goddess Durga has 18 arms. That's what I say, when you are in tune with universal consciousness and doing the divine work, divine will reveal itself at the right time and you just got to move on, and that's it. And her, she just like Adi Prashakti with 18 arms, and she represents divine mother of creation. That is what I'm talking about. Let's go on to the next one. This is a picture, beautiful picture which I've got. You can see Mahishasura lion. He is being attacked by lion, which represents the most powerful king of forests, and goddess Durga, as Chamundishri call it, with 18 arms. And this picture made me 18 arms is much better than 8 arms as such. Now, this particular temple is near Mysore, a Chamundishri temple. You can see 7 layers on the side and 10 on either side. How a beautiful structure on divine mathematics of 10 stages, 10 and 18 you are going to see as we move on. And this is a picture of Chamundishri from the same temple. You can see goddess Durga with 18 arms, and I think that speaks volumes. Maybe thanks to my students who gave me the picture and made me realize time has come for something bigger. Maybe this thing will go on for next 3-4 days to bring the wisdom. It's going to be longer, but I think understanding concept clearly, integrating all the 9 and 10 levels is much more important than having short videos which only confuse you, does not give you answers completely. Now, periodic table is the most beautiful contribution of chemistry by the scientists of the world. And see the 7 levels on the left side as the periodic tables and 18 groups. It's the same thing with the temple, and Chamundishri talks about. I think it's another beautiful thing. And the picture in the middle also shows as we move towards the noble gases, size reduces. That's the result. Light becomes darkness. Tamsoma Jyotirgame is that. I think that's another beautiful thing which I realized, where science and spirituality merge together to give us the wisdom. Science by itself is confusing. Some spirituality by itself is confusing. When both together and we see a common thing accepted all over the world, that is the genuine thing which I am talking about. In that light only Divyang stands out. Now in this picture is Adi Prashakti, and you see the Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh being created by her, but you can see 9 petals on top and there are going to be 9 petals down. So this 18 here again is something which is amazing. Now there comes the question of me saying, I have learnt all the things with the dialogue within me which is of Aditi per se and answered from divinity as such, and that is voice of silence of my own soul. And I am made to understand that after the war of evil over right, where goddess Durga killed Mahishasura and other demons, she wanted to get married to Lord Vishnu and said, we cannot get married to you because you are energy by itself. Take birth as a human form, as a Vaishnavi in Kanyakumari, and then move on. And then she takes birth, moves on to Trikuta mountain. She is doing meditation, and that picture is of 8 arms, and she is trying to go to the next stage of 10, maybe 18, by and large. And she being my divine mother, my goddess, and I am devoted to her from Bhakti Yoga, and I think I have gained tremendously with that faith of Bhakti towards Mata Vaishno Devi and the divinity by and large. Now you can see the Kanyakumari Asteroid, there the 3 oceans meet together at the bottom part, that is Kanyakumari. That is where Vaishnavas are born. From there she has come to Trikuta right on top, which is my hometown, and I think that is there. Now in this particular picture you can see Trikuta mountain, which I believe represent Brahma, Vishnu and Mahesh as peaks, Trinity as such. But same thing inside the temple with the female deity is Saraswati, Mahalakshmi and Mahakali put together. I think this is where Trinity speaks inside and outside. Now the same thing in the male form of Lord Dattatreya, of Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh put together. But here Dattatreya you can see the 6 arms which represent carbon, and she represents oxygen. So carbon, oxygen and hydrogen put together fantastic combinations for producing carbohydrate, the first vital molecule. I think that is amazing thing in the chemistry side. Now come to the question of Aitri Upanishad, which is a reflection of Rig Veda. In this particular book, it's very clear. There are 8 divinities which are represented, and out of 8 divinities what goddess Durga has, 5 are the bhutas: Bhumi, Jal, Agni, Vayu and Akash, and other 3 things are the mind, naval and reproduction put together. I think that was another amazing thing in Aitri Upanishad, how classified is that book. And of course, most interesting part of Aitri Upanishad is Apana, through which food for these divinities, food person, Lokpalan could get, and comes through Apana. That is actually which throws it out, but it gets it. Nobody has resolved that issue. I have resolved that issue. It is the umbilical cord of a growing fetus in mother's womb is what Aitreya Upanishad is talking about, is not creation of Lokpalan outside other than the human as such. I think that was a brilliant part of Aitreya Upanishad. Now come to the question, God is that. As that hydrogen is Aditya, the sun, and how hydrogen 4 get to form helium 4 inside the sun with 6000 degree temperature. And this is something which is mentioned in Rig Veda as Daksha the king, his mother and daughter are Aditi. Same thing in Upanishad, Aditya the sun, mother and daughter is Aditi. But these 2 statements has also not been explained by somebody else, but I have been able to explain that is a proton-proton nuclear reaction in the sun with 6000 degree is what they are talking about from Ved and Upanishad itself. They were so much in tune with universal consciousness, and that is the part of the one Aditi or hydrogen helium which comes out, becomes of the human soul, and that is able to remain as such because you need 6000 degree temperature to dissolve it, and you are not going to see that anywhere. That's where the Atma becomes immortal by and large. Now come to 7 pillars of wisdom which have made me come to this particular level. The foundation is in Satya, truth. Come what may. I have never compromised on truth. Whatever I have witnessed, explained, understood is what I retain. Anything other than that is not recorded in my brain. And second thing, what is dharma, righteousness, good for everyone in the universe is recorded. Anything is defective, makes somebody unhappy, is not. As a result, I would say Aham Brahmasmi, Advait philosophy, me, truthful, honestly, integrity, otherwise is the one person which stand out, and me as a perfect human being believes in Advait. Then I have a devotion towards God where Jivatma, my body, and Paramatma become separate. That is Dvait philosophy. But I do know both of them are good but not perfect. Perfect is Jivatma, that's Shri Bhushan Sharma, and Paramatma, the Ishwar. There is a bridge between that is my Antaratma, and that is Aditi. That with based on that, when I do all my arthic, economics, karma, action, I get freedom from all the constraints of life, and that is what Ayurveda is talking about. Dharma, Arth, Kam, Moksha. I modified a little bit to suit my concept of Tret Vidya. Then once that is come together, my Jivatma, my Antaratma, and the divinity, all that put together, that's the time when you start learning philosophy together. Till such time you won't even understand it. Gyan Vidya, as philosophy starts at a Chotra. When from Gyan you go to Vigyan, scientific thing, you come to Vigyan as a fifth. Then you go to absolute wisdom from relativity is the Pragyan. When you go to divine mathematics, in which everything is consistent, and that is Devyank, is what I am trying to say seventh. These are the things which have made me a truthful, honest person, give the Devyank, because my search is only for the truth in which everything is perfectly explained, and that is what I am trying to explain in the larger videos are for my pleasure. Whether I am doing it, whether others read or don't, doesn't really matter it. I do it only for myself. I just enjoy. It's helping me to get better and better day by day. Then come to the first stage of Shailputri, which is that Shail means good girl. Like Suputra, it's a Shailputri, it's a girl. And that is divine nature, perfect girl, and we worship perfect girls. On that day is the first. Here I am going to say, unless until all the information by all the senses, Indriya, and the man is completely at rest with Samadhi, Ashtang Yoga or Patanjali Sukta, you come to that stage, mind is totally at peace with yourself, only then the self will appear. Till such time will not appear. So Patanjali Yoga Sutra 8 steps is only to control the mind, have the mind for powerful, to reflect things, and then start learning from Antaratma as Pragyan itself. That is beautiful. Now understand that is first sprouting of inner consciousness within, and that is the beginning of system to understand the physical body, solar system, spiral galaxy, and universe thereafter. That is first stage of evolution. Now, the first sound which you hear within the body is a Muladhara chakra, 4 petals, long. You can see this is the first beginning of Sanskrit language as such. Then it is connected with ganglion impar or coccygeal ganglion, where 2 vertebral columns of sympathetic system with the 22 plus 22 plus 1, 45 ganglia are involved. And the source comes from 28 preganglion fibers. That is exactly the way I talk about it, as a Divyank is a beautiful example in sympathetic system as such. Then come to the question Shailputri. That is where Muladhara Aditi comes to sleep. When it wakes up, it makes you perfectly healthy, wealthy, wise, and happy. And as a result, these 3 statements of Maharishi Yajnavalkya, Asdo Ma Satgamya. Untruths, you learn to be perfectly truthful person. Tamso Ma Jyotirgay. All the ignorance you have, you come to the light within the body itself with Shailputri itself. Then Mrityuma Amritkame. Even if you are immortal, your mortal body become immortal, because what you have experienced, you leave behind the legacy for the world, and you will be remembered even of generations and generations and generations. Today I am talking about Maharishi Yajnavalkya, who has made this statement almost 5000 years there. But even today he is alive. with the kind of wisdom which Shalputri I am able to explain. I think that's the most beautiful part. Then come to the current Shalputri is a Muladhara chakra, is associated with mother element, or the earth or Bhumi or Bhur. That's the first part of even Gayatri mantra. Bhur Bhava Swa. Bhur is that. That means it is element of water and things. So that way, if I talk about Navratri as the 7 days of Durga, I associate that with Navagraha also. In Navagraha, you have a picture of Rahu, head, and I know it is earth only, not anything else. So it's very clear it is Rahu. Then Matsya is the one which is first on vertebral column, the evolution itself. I think that's also very clear as far as Dasavatar or Vishnu is concerned. Come to Brahmachari, it's the second girl from a Kanya. A girl with no sexuality has come to achieve periods, and now she is prepared to be a mother. She is prepared to be like Savitri, getting married to Satyavan. They can be perfect couple to explain a beautiful house, home with the children, and divine self on the earth can be done by brahmachari aspect, and that is what is mentioned here. Is the second stage of procreation or creation. And here what was a sympathetic system integrated as such has now become a sacral parasympathetic system to talk about a mother, love, creation, everything put together. The next stage, which was Lam, is become Vam, that was 4 letters, now there's 6 letters, and this is again evolution. Then it is connected with Venus and of course Shukra by and large. I think this is where again Navagratri and Navagraha also merging together. Now she is also associated with the tortoise, which is inside the water and outside. With that sport only Meru mountain friction of Sagar Manthan or Samundar or churning, where all the things required for the physical body were received. So I call even Meru mountain as vertebral column, Ida and Pingla as the shoe things, and what they produce for the physical body, I think is beautiful example here. Then as I told you, sacral part has got 5 segments, out of 3 have got 3 nerves. They supply 5 organs, is again a beautiful thing and Devyang sequence. Now come to the question of female menstrual cycle. I think because I am in tune with Brahmachari, understand that mother, she has been able to help me to understand the concept very clearly with Devyang. This is a perfect thing revealed for the first time in 2015 after Devyang. No other information by any medical person anywhere in the world talks about such a perfect menstrual cycle, and I think spirituality was required for me to talk about science to come to spiritual side. I think this is another beautiful example of flowing with divine consciousness. Then third stage Chandrakanta is very clear, it is with the moon. First is the earth, second is Venus, third has to be moon, and moon has been a part of Navagraha as such. There is no doubt on that. That's the third stage. Now this is a picture of divine. What was Bhumi, solid element, and water. Now you come to Agni element as the third stage, which is with Chandran. She is talking about Agni as such. I think I can understand that very clearly. Then come to the chakra. It is Navi chakra, which has got 10 petals, and then 10 aksharas of Sanskrit also there. I think that also speak 4, 6 equivalent to 10 is a beautiful sequence of Fibonacci sequence there. I think this is again amazing part. Then come to the moon as such. This is a mind under control. I make it control. Amavasya to Purnima. Purnima Amavasya 29.5 days is something which told me, and that is the female menstrual cycle which I told you in the last one. Here also is the next level on that once. Now here it is Varaha, the wild boar, which is a revival of that. I think that was again something which made me realize if you have to be perfectly healthy, wealthy, wise and happy, your adrenal gland should be perfectly fine. And that beautiful information is in Ramayana, that King Ravana could not be killed by Rama at all. All his attacks for 9 times, Ravan would wake up again and he would not die. Finally, Vibhishan had to tell Rama, you attack his navel, his life is in navel. Said after attacking navel, only Ravan died. So what is the secret behind it is also something which spiritual science has told me. Let's see that. It shows that navel is connected with adrenal gland. It has got 3 layers of cortical steroids. First one giving mineralocorticoid for water and electrolytes. Second for glucocorticoid. Third for androgen, both testosterone. These are 3 things which are absolutely important for homeostasis. Finally, the same blood goes to medulla, adrenal medulla, to produce sympathomimetic hormones like catecholamine, adrenaline, etc. And that is a large result to make sure that come what may, it's going to save you. Is sympathetic again. I think that shows why Ravana could not be killed, because adrenal gland must have been very, very powerful. No wonder it is called emergency gland, a survival gland by and large. I think amazing part you get from spiritual and science put together only. Then come to the fourth stage. Fourth stage, as I told you in the beginning, is apana prana in the beginning. Here it is samana prana. It's a fire, that element which is absolutely essential for digestion. For perfect, healthy, wealthy life, you got to have enough water, nutrients, electrolytes, and all the things put together. That is work done as a samana prana at the 4th level of Manipura chakra. That's the 4th level evolution. How now, step by step, we are moving up to higher and higher levels. And then you can picture, in this picture, you can see her having the bowl with amrit, that is water. And how you come to that amrit which is going to make you immortal, that is the objective of samana prana, or the digestion as such, which has the independent 7th level nervous system which has never been spoken by anybody. I think that is also something which I have been able to bring, because spiritual science merging together as something which gives you the wisdom as you start moving by eliminating all the defects. Again, an interesting part. Now when come to the Manipura chakra, is gone 10 petals. This is, and Nabi and Mani are contemporary, so it's not going to be added once again. 4, 6 and 10 are 20 right up to this. Now it is the Mercury planet which is important, which is the Buddhan, which is a neutral. It's neither a male nor a female, neither mind nor an energy. I think that's again a beautiful thing which I have explained in Navagraha, and that is what it is. Now come to the 5th level, Mother Skand. Skand has got 6 heads of Kartik, which is son of goddess. You can call it Parvati as such. That is the 5th level spiritual science. We have already spoken. In this you can see the Kartik sitting in the lap of goddess Durga or Parvati as such. Now this particular thing is connected with Anahata chakra, which has got 12 petals, and the phonetic sound is yam, and the 12 letters speak volume on mantra vidya, and that is Sat chakra nirprapiction. Down is my representation as such. Now come to the question of which planet is connected. Is the sun. It's like a Sunday, is a presiding teacher as such. Beautiful. Now comes to the next level. The Katyani is the 6th level of spiritual, and she is again Kartik's mother as such. Now she has got 6 heads, divine mother of that, and I believe that also is exactly like the earlier one. Now come to the question of sound. Bij mantra is hum. Lam, Ram, Vam, Ram, and then hum. It is at 16. 4, 6, 10, and 10 and 6 are 16. I think that's another interesting thing, how Sanskrit is also moving in the same direction. Then Katyani moving to the next level. Here, as I told you in the beginning, Apana, then Samana. Now at the heart level it is the prana, but at this level it becomes Udhana and is connected with Mars. I think that's again something which is very interesting to move on to the higher level, to move up of energy going higher to higher soul. And that is what made me understand also that she represents Parvati, and Shiv, and blue throat, where iodine and heat thermogenic thing I have already explained. That is something which I realized, how iodine as a 53 element, as a ionic form becomes 54 like xenon, to give you all the information required. I think that was again interesting thing which spiritual science has given me. Then come to the last stage for the today is KAALRATRI, the seventh stage. As I told you, Bhumi, Earth, is like a Rahu, and asteroid belt, the Ketu of Navagraha is asteroid belt, which is a space between Mars and Jupiter, and that is a stage at the seventh level you are going to see as such. But in this picture you can see the dark side of time and space is there in KAALRATRI. This is again a power of Parvati to eliminate all the defects of the world. You see that most of the parts as we move up are more with Parvati, Uma, and that aspect of eliminating things for moksha as such. Now the chakra which is connected is Ajna Chakra with two lotus petals. But here the phonetic sound I have written is hum and sham. These are the two words which are lam, Vam, Ram, Yam, now Hum and Shap. I think that is also beautiful Sanskrit language as such. Now coming to the asteroid belt, you can see, which I call Ketu, which I also call for another heaven where things are having as such. It's also like important thing, like Vishwamitra's king was Trishanku Loka, is what asteroid belt is all about, and that is the picture there. Now here, both Rahu and Ketu along with other 5 things have been very clear. Now we are left with only 2 of the 9 which we are going to see next as we move on to that particular stage. Now come to this picture. In this you have seen all the 9, 2 are left. We will do as we move on. But same 9 things are there also as such, and I think that speaks volumes. Now put together the thing, impeccable wisdom, the head of Rahu is mother, body of Ketu asteroid belt. So those 2 things have now resolved the issue which is Rahu and Ketu. Whatever people talk about it, moon is polarity negative and positive, is not true. It is actually Mother Earth and asteroid belt. I think that is a beautiful revelation, and that is what spiritual science has helped me to understand concept as we move on. And now come to this picture, we will not talk about. That's enough, short and sweet, half an hour, lovely. Thank you very much.